we're at the property. Okay, so what we typically do is we like to walk through, right? It's uphill, so Ryan's gonna be pissed about it.
I forgot my oxygen tank.
Shit. But as we're looking through, right? Woo, South Carolina, big old truck. So we got a major road right here. We freaking love that. And then right behind us is even a bigger major intersection and the freeway entrance, which is also awesome, right? So we're looking at those types of things that are easy. Signage off the road here, it's phenomenal. So that's great, right? We'll obviously change it. We might put some, neon backlit, maybe even like attach a galvanized sign right there to make it even more visible at night, right? It's not very visible at night right now. But as we come in, as we're walking through, what are we looking for, right?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously we want to invite to the tenants that come in here,
to
right?
The guests, we can call them guests too, sure,
we call them guests, tenants, whatever, right? So one thing that is important to us is landscaping here, right? We want it to be inviting, like Tyler was just talking about. So you can see here, there's some things we can do here. We can add some different shrubbery, different colors, different flowers. It's wintertime here, but there's some stuff that we can put in. The other thing is you can see here, there's a little, little security shack here, right? So one of the things that we notice is a lot of people like gated communities. They want to be safe and secure. So as you can see right here, we have a fence or a gate here. We can add a gate in here, a security gate where they can get in. That's what a lot of tenants like. The other thing we want to see is, as you go in, are there any visual things that detract from it, right? That look bad. As you can see right here, there's a garbage can that Tyler has tagged already.
Rocket.
The rocket, right? So those are things we want to look at, right? What is the appearance of the property as we go through it?
Hey, I'll say one more thing too. We have, so a cool part, right? You have major entrances. Once again, down here is the major entrance off the freeway. And then as you come down here, we have one other competitor that's right down the road here, right? So the cool part is we're just gonna siphon all that frickin' traffic here into our tenant. Ryan's actually gonna stand sometimes with the sign, spin it, direct people that way. Does that work?
that works, but one thing that's important too to know is when we underwrote this deal, we want to look at competitive market analysis like we talked about just a little bit ago. One of the things our competitors over here is at $86,000 a door. So that's something that we want to look at. We're picking this up for
$54,000
a door. So,
which, if you equate that difference over 138 units, it equates to a shitload of money, which is great. Okay, so we're gonna come in, right? So that's obviously an upside as we're walking through. So this is perfect for gated community. We know that that tenants in this area love gated communities, so that's great. Like Ryan mentioned.
What do you think about those blinds, though, Tyler? Huh?
Those are rough, dude. We get rid of those for sure. But I love the mailbox, right? So one of the most common questions is how do we, figure out value add opportunities? It's all trying to get creative here, right? So reposition value add type opportunity, even though it's not technically a value add, but it's a reposition opportunity, is the gate, like Ryan mentioned. But understand that as we do that, immediately all of a sudden this becomes a different asset class, right? So security, great. Just that appeal, right? So there's already the security, like even office. So we have somebody there, new tenants come in, they're greeted with a smile, open up a gate, and then they're opened up to this beautiful community. We love that stuff, dude. So we're only to the entrance right now. But I know there's so much we can do, right?
There is. I think one thing to point out as we're talking right now is I'm looking around going, where's the leasing office at? Is there signs that go, how do I get to the leasing office? One thing that's important, is we're competing with our competitors here, is how do they get directly to that leasing office? So you can see right over here, there's no signs that direct us. And that's one thing that we want to do is make sure that it's very, very clear where they go.
For sure. So once again, we're looking for ways that we can improve, right? Looking for ways we can improve operations on the property, attract more tenants. The signage out here, once again, like they had the leasing flag. I'm not sure if you saw that or not. We would improve that for sure. Once again, driving traffic in, trying to siphon anybody else that's maybe going to the other one as well. So we'll keep walking through and show you what we're pointing out, okay? So let's go. All right, so one of the questions was, why would we, fly across the country for this property? Like, why this one, And it's never just about one property. Like, we always tour multiple properties. There are two major assets that we're looking at. One we're finishing up due diligence on. The other we just put under contract today.
Oh, there we go.
But it's always more than just one thing at this point, right? But coming back to that question, we aren't coming in blind, essentially, right? Like, we have solid team members, Greg and Lisa Parrish, so operating partners, then local team members, contractors, property managers, regional managers who they've already walked the properties. They've given us great feedback, that's why we're always talking about what?
The importance of building teams, man. It's critical. It really is.
It just pays huge dividends, right? All that being said, though, right, the properties that, we just walked, what's your thought?
I think they're just home runs, man. Grand slams on these deals.
Absolute home runs. This property, for example, specifically, the numbers weren't great. Like, they weren't great when we first initially looked at them, but the numbers only play or tell one part of the story. The team members had viewed the property. They loved the property location. We researched the property location. So all those things lead into another question, and that other question was, what's the process essentially? What's the process of looking at the numbers? It's the story, in my opinion. You agree?
Yeah, definitely is a story.
Sellers needed to exit. They needed to exit because of a number of reasons. Honestly, it's kind of sad. The partner that handled their real estate assets passed away, right?
Yeah, just unexpectedly. Yeah, it's crazy.
So the rest of the partnership, I guess, doesn't focus on real estate stuff. They have other investments, but they have no idea what they, how to handle real estate. So they're literally fire selling, different real estate holdings. So their strategy, as an example, has been to, eliminate capital improvements, retain tenants by, offering lower market rents. And what's our strategy?
No, I mean, our strategy is to capitalize on that. Really, it's just, I don't know. It's just raise the rents, right? I mean, so many times they try to get 100% occupancy and they miss out on the upside.
And they do. And their credit, this property is nearly 100% occupied. Economic vacancy less than 5%. But that being said, their current loss to lease is like
83,000.
183K. So in a nutshell, right, our strategy will be to improve operations, implement proper policies and procedures, maximize rent increases. We do that by upgrading the interiors to a premium product. There's like 123 out of 138.
Yeah.
So clean up the exterior, to get some curb appeal, increase amenities. There's two amenities. One is a tennis court, not even functional. The other is a pool that's right here. You can't see it, but it's also not functional. Hasn't been functional all winter. So the story behind that, right? The comps in this area, 86 a door, 86,000 a door. We're picking this up for 54 a door. That's
32,000, almost 33,000 a door difference.
Which per door. So just coming in, right, and bringing it to market adds what value to that?
$4 million is what it adds immediately. So many times, the philosophy, especially these older sellers, mom and pop places, they want to get 100% occupancy, and that's just the mindset of a lot of these sellers that don't go through education like you guys. They don't know what they're doing, and they think that's the end all be all. But it's really, I would say when you say vacancy is healthy, right?
Like have vacancy, totally. Yeah, absolutely.
It just means you're pushing rents and you're doing what you're supposed to.
Okay, so I'll actually bring this full circle because what's the process, right? Past looking at the numbers, so much of that is looking into the market as well. What's happening in the market. And I'll give you an example of this. We do a comparable market analysis. It was one of the questions, what do we look at in the competitors? So we'll talk about that in a second. We'll do another video, give you some more details. But as an example, these competitors in this area, they have, as we're researching them, how much below market rents?
Oh man.
On this one?
I was 150 around there.
So 150 below market rents. But another side of that is every one of the competitors that we looked at were not only full, but they had waiting lists, and their rents are $150, $200 more than what the rents are here. So demand is huge. These properties that are charging more have waiting lists, which means, do we feel like we can come in, improve this asset, and maximize rents by still maintaining occupancy? Yes.
By the way, look at our competitors right next door. They don't even have screening porches, which is huge. This is what these families are looking for, man, is privacy, be able to go out. I mean, that's one thing that this property provides.
Totally. So it's those little. So we'll end this one here, and then we'll talk about how we do the competitive market analysis. What we look at. Should we?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Hopefully that answers your question in more detail than you initially wanted. All right, we got Greg and Lisa. Greg and Lisa, introduce yourselves.
Hello.
Hi,
Well, introduce yourselves.
we're Greg and Lisa.
Greg and Lisa also love to be on camera. So it's
No,
good. Totally good. So these are our partners with all of our Carolina-based assets. They are freaking the best, right? So give them a little bit about your background. Lisa, you go first.
I've been in real estate since '03 and absolutely love it, obviously. But investing for about 11 years in apartments, and I don't know, we have about 2,500 units now. And
Get in
looking
here.
to
25 hundo? Shit. I love it.
and looking to grow that to 3,000, 4,000. I don't know, whatever we end up. Seems like we're just addicted to it. Keep saying we're gonna retire,
Yep.
but we just love what we do so much. So
I love
I'm excited
that.
about this project here.
Dude, totally. G?
That's it. We love what we're doing. We could be on the beach somewhere, but
Yeah.
could be in Maui.
Yeah, there we go. Soon, right?
Yeah.
Soon.
No, we really do enjoy what we're doing.
Dude, it's not their first rodeo. They are a freaking. You'll see this as we go through this. I'm going to tell you the secret of my success, okay? These guys right here. These three are the secret of my success. There's nobody that's had bigger impact on my financial situation than these three right here. I'm super grateful for it. So, wealth of knowledge as we go through. So don't F it up. Okay, so I'm doing that, okay? All right, so as we go through, so first off, Greg, when you walk through, and I've already kind of given them my take, but what do you usually look through and how do you go about your first initial walkthrough of a property?
Just getting a sense of everything. Who's hanging out? How many cars are in the parking lot? The condition of the parking lot. The roofs and the windows are always a big key item. By all means, they're not deal breakers, but you gotta keep it out. The siding.
Well, we're also keeping track of, even if there is a roof issue or siding issue, keeping track of how much capital expenditure money that we need to bring in at closing so that we are prepared to
Year
replace
one,
those things.
year three, whatever it is, as long as you budget for it, or you can
And of course, we consider it in the price.
Ryan's the budget guy.
Is our budget and numbers guy. So
I'm
we
the
say,
deal
Ryan,
breaker.
what do we need? Ryan, can we do the deal?
So here's what's interesting too, and then we'll start walking through. But this is where a partnership and strengths and weaknesses are so important because when we first initially underwrote the deal, Ryan, what was your first initial take?
Nope.
Immediate no go, right?
It's always no.
That's all.
It literally, it is though.
Wait a second, Ryan. I really thought this through.
And I remember you sent a message. She sends back and says no go, and then Ryan and I talk, and it's like, hey, why, right? It's why they're here. They already walked the property. We haven't. Why do you guys love the property, right? And then they start telling us more of the story of the deal because it's all numbers are important. But it's always more than the numbers. And I've never met anybody that has a better view of like what can be done on a property, spotting value at opportunities than Greg and Lisa. So the partnership just works great, right? Ryan keeps things in check, but it's this flex and flow. Y'all agree?
Absolutely.
This is good.
Yes, and we drive the area, we look at the properties nearby to see what they're getting, what kind of rents they're getting, and we're actually looking at, as we come in as a tenant when we first come in,
Yeah.
we pretend like we're a tenant, we put on the tenant glasses, and we say as a tenant, well, we want to live here. Do we like the property? Do we like the area? Where our jobs? Where we're working? We come in and we actually shop the property. We come in and we talk to the property manager, and as pretend tenants.
Yes.
And we'll come in and see how the manager acts, how they treat us, what the property looks like, what the tours look like. I mean, that's how we learn so much from it.
That's such a great point, right? Like as you're walking through initially, to view it as a tenant through the tenant's eyes, right? What's their first initial impression? How do they view things? Leasing agents and stuff, how they treat them.
Yep.
Are those the glasses is this how you dress when you pose as a tenant?
No, absolutely not. No. I'll wear sweatpants or something because we don't, because otherwise, or if we are dressed like this and we decide that we want to come in and view a property, we'll say we're looking for our son because they wouldn't believe,
That's a great,
usually don't believe us.
it's a great idea
Depends on
too.
the property.
Depends on the property, exactly. And we like to make up a story of who we are, get to pretend to be. And then later when we buy the property and we see the manager, we'll say, hey, do you remember us? And they always do.
I
Remember when
love
you were
it.
a dick to me?
See you later.
You're not gonna
You're out. Dude, I love it. Oh, I love it. All right, let's start walking through. Y'all ready?
Yep.
Sweet. Okay, we'll follow your lead, G. By the way, we call Greg G. We call Lisa LP. We call Ryan.
Right, bro?
Right,
Can't
guy?
say that on camera.
All right.
Looking around, little things like this. What are those HVAC units sitting on? How destroyed their foundation is, the year of them. You can see little cracks and crevices along that corner right there.
So what'd you do? Those ACs right there, would you just fix up the base?
Yes, they need to be lifted up, put a new base down on them.
Cost to do something like that?
Nothing. Yeah, you get two guys, lift the thing up, and they sell actual bases to go underneath.
So what happens if you don't do that? What's the downside if you don't fix that?
You get code enforcement, call them in.
That's
And then they're going to strong arm you.
He gets to know code
I know them all real well.
I love it. Okay, what kind of siding is this, Greg?
Regular vinyl siding. This right here, you can take a look at that window in particular. Which
bottom?
going into that. You can see how it's going, dipping down a little bit.
Oh, this window on the side, yes.
This window on the side, yep. We're going to be going into that unit, which we're going to sooner or later make this our model since it has so much to do. It's right across the street from the office.
Sweet.
And it's got this beauty right here to admire.
This beautiful truck. That's Ryan's truck.
We had Dominion out here yesterday to assess our common lights. Whenever we go into a place that has the soft yellow lighting, we like to get the utility company out here and get into a new contract with new LED lighting.
Yeah.
Light the place up.
So I was going to ask you about that because I just drove in last night, right? So I just saw the night, but it's dark, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So they're going to take care of the common lighting, and then I'm going to have my electrician start going and doing all the balcony areas.
Beverly
Love
lights
it.
things
Light it all up.
totally. So,
For one, for insurance.
Yes.
We
No,
would definitely say so, but also for security, and the people just love it.
Yeah, I agree.
There's certain things. New windows, our tenants really love, and lighting.
We've had a complex before where we've lit it up and the tenants complain. Those are the ones that need to go.
Yes, yeah.
If they don't want it lit up
Yeah.
and safe, then they're doing something wrong.
Exactly.
Greg, I just
And
want to
the next
know,
day, the chief of police comes out and thanks us and shakes our hand
Yes.
for getting them out.
Greg, are you the one saying you have to get the pine needles up there out of the letters?
Yeah, after a couple drinks.
Speak to your pros.
All right. So roofs, we always look at roof conditions as well. Do we know how new or old these roofs are?
Lisa?
Let me get back to you on that.
We're looking at our notes.
I have a lot of properties.
Oh, dude, yeah. Try to keep them all
They are
separate.
in great shape. You know that
Yeah, I
much.
don't think
Last 10 years,
yeah,
you said, yeah.
I know that within the last 10 years.
So then you look at the walkways, right? So this is something I peek at right now. So walkways, what could we do with the walkway? And would it be
I would personally, because they look a little bit aged, either do a stain or a paint and mix in some sand with it. Because these are going to get slick as hell this time of year when it starts to get. So
that's good. I think you look at the windows too. Like you could add some that's what they call them,
Shutters?
shutters. There we go. Add some color, right?
Yep.
this place could definitely use color.
Lisa, what do you want to tell us about the landscaping?
Those pine needles are really bothering me, and I think the lenders are definitely going to require those to get done. Those need to be removed off the roof.
I think it's beautiful. I mean, obviously, come from Florida, we don't have this kind of stuff, and this property is beautiful out here. But that is one of the things to take into consideration, right? Is as the pine needles come in, like Lisa just said, lenders are going to require us to get those off. Those gutters and stuff like that, that'll cause problems if you don't clear those out. And that's an additional cost when you come into these properties. Is getting the labor to come in and do it. One thing we talked about is so many people think getting into these deals, it's all about getting the property, fixing it up. But having great partners that establish good relationships with vendors and contractors that come in. You saw how cheap Gray can get things done for, and it's thinking ahead like that. As Tyler talked about earlier, when you're growing into a market, we're looking at a couple deals as we go through here. So it's thinking about the appliances that you're looking for, how cheap you can get those for, and the landscaping, right? I mean, one of the one of the things we look at a property this big, you look at acreage and landscaping, how much are you going to put into it? There's simple things you can do with it. One of our properties is perfect, but you may put a lot of money into landscaping. And I think we budgeted, was it 125,000 on this property just for landscaping. So Tyler showed you the quarry down there. We'll show it again a little later, but that's one thing we're going to clear out that whole area so we can get premium units. But it's about 125,000 we're going to budget on this property just to get the property in shape.
Especially for the entrance, because the first impression that a resident is going to get is what it looks like just when they first pull in. You'll have some residents that if it doesn't look good as soon as they pull in, they're just going to turn around and leave. So we always look at what is a tenant going to look at, the signage, so we need to work on the signage, the office, make sure that the office is obvious of where it is, because people do not want to go around searching for the office, and just flowers and color, and we like to make it very presentable right from the start. So that's something that we'll be working on, and that's in our budget.
So we're looking at this sidewalk here, right? Once again, just trying to spot capital expenditures, right? So we have this. that's sunk down. That's going to be a code enforcement we have to fix for sure. JT, Greg just told us right around a couple $100 to do.
That entire section is going to have to be pulled out and repaved.
Couple $100. So code enforcement, would lender have a problem with that?
Big time. Lender and insurance.
So then this. So tell them about this.
That is big enough to be considered a trip hazard. There's a company that come out, they'll drill right here into this corner right here, and they put a chemical foam of some sort, and it actually raises it up just enough to not be considered a trip hazard.
And then it's cheaper to do that than if you.
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
Quick and easy.
So how did you learn that?
We've got enough properties that we have these problems.
It's not your first rodeo, right? So you'll learn things as you go throughout, right? You'll learn things. So once again, though, partnering with people, right? They can teach you those things. Critical in the beginning. Critical always, I feel like. You can always learn. All right, let's keep looking at some of the. Oh, then point this out. So maybe I don't know if you guys know this detail, but this is one thing that JT just asked. You have railings everywhere, but this one doesn't have a railing.
Exactly. And we said the same thing. Insurance hasn't said anything to us yet. I don't know if it's grandfathered in, but they do need to go up.
Put the railings up.
Oh yeah. Sweet. There's a lot of little things that cross our fingers. Code enforcement hasn't come down here yet, but they could. We need to get on it.
So railing, how much to put railings on? Do you think?
$1,000?
$1,000?
Yeah.
That section? Not too bad. So once again, now it's in the budget. We account for it, right? And continue to plan. So I'm making notes. And typically, just so you know, I have my iPad. Actually, I don't even know where the hell I put it. But we're making notes as we're going throughout your walkthrough. You should too. Once again, you want an idea of what the plan is. Then when you get into due diligence, you're going to get more information. You're going to be able to get better estimates. But we're making ballpark figures here so we can understand the plan. Ideally, before we even submit an offer, right? And then
Pictures.
And take pictures throughout. Exactly.
When you go through a lot of this, it's a lot of knowledge, and you're going to forget this.
Exactly.
Go back
It's
to
a great bit of advice right there for sure. In fact, we use an Asana template that walks us through to make sure that we don't forget to check off anything. You can snap pictures and throw it in there, right? So it's a great tool to be able to use because checklists, in and of itself, are great so that you don't forget things, right? Go through the checklist items.
And investors appreciate it.
Yes.
Befores and afters.
Oh yeah, they love the before and after pics. Okay, so walking now towards the back of the property, right? This is right next to the tennis court. Siding, right? So problem with siding there. What would we need to do there to fix that up?
That's already been repaired, not very
Just
well.
paint it.
But we had a huge windstorm come through, so there are several places on this complex that need to be redone.
Okay.
Very inexpensive. Siding is very easy to do. Even if you have an old building that you need, I'm doing that up in Hickory. I'm doing several buildings just because it all had the old T11 on it,
Yeah.
which I know you hate.
Yeah, for sure.
And we're going over and we're doing new siding. It doesn't 6,000 for a building.
Jeez,
It's
yeah.
not much. I mean, a large one we did up to 11,000, but it makes a big difference.
So we make a note, but one thing that JT pointed out too was there's no gutters, right? So, and the downside of that, if there's no gutters, you can kind of see, but then when it rains, right, comes off the roof, creates this freaking ravine that comes down, that then goes down there, right? Which is just ugly, right? So you put in gutters, you direct the stream, and now you can clean this place up.
This isn't bad right here, but you're 100% correct. A lot of other properties, that water will stay right there. It has to be redirected somewhere else.
For sure.
You have the crawls as well that could get infiltrated by water if you don't get it away from the building.
So simple little fixes, right? Simple little fixes that go a long way for tenant satisfaction.
And I've got a side guy going through this entire property and closing up all the crawl spaces, not only for safety reasons, but you got animals, possums, and everything. We're having all of it removed.
You ever seen a
And
possum?
boarded up.
My gosh, I'll never forget my first possum. We moved to Austin, Texas. We set my Ziggy's food out on the I would call it the lanai, but the patio, lanai and Maui patio in Austin, and we hear like it's nighttime. And we hear something like messing with the bowl. I'm like, what the shit is that, right? So I'm thinking like it's somebody, I don't know, we don't know what it is, but it's middle of the night, so I peek out there, and there's this freaking possum on the patio. That's the scariest damn things I've ever seen in my life. I'm gonna tell you what I did. I walked out on the patio. The possum's right there, and the only way out of the patio was where I was standing, right? So I had this possum trapped right here, and I'm right here. I was scared at first, but then obviously I realized I'm fucking superhuman. And so I see this possum.
How do you forget that?
Huh?
How do you forget that?
It's hard to. It's crazy. I see this possum, right? And I'm positioning him over here. I'm getting him in the corner. He's freaking out. I grab his tail. Just kidding. I didn't do shit. I ran. I did not go outside. I refused to do that. But Greg would grab that possum by the tail and chuck it into the damn crawl
The
space.
thing I got into was javelina. A whole herd of them.
What is it?
Charging at me. Yeah.
What's it? A javelina?
Javelina, wild boar.
Oh shit! A whole herd?
Yeah, well, he had his babies with him, and they're blind. So they sensed me, and they just started running.
Shut up.
And I was on a little thing like that, a little bridge, and I just jumped on the railing, and they went blowing right by me. After I crapped myself.
That's awesome. After I crap myself. All right, knock out a couple of these questions. One of the questions was, do we talk to the tenants? Yes. Okay, we either talk to them, ask questions throughout the walkthrough, or after the walkthrough. Brokers and sellers hate when you talk to tenants. So we have been known to swing back by later, by ourselves, and flag down a tenant as we drive through the parking lot. But here's another tip, okay? You should also pay attention to how tenants treat their units, right? Do they treat them well, or do they treat them like frickin' Ryan treats this rental car right now? Just leaving snacks and all sorts of shit in here, okay? But we typically ask a couple questions, right? Questions like, how do they like the apartment? Do you have any consistent maintenance problems? Does it get really hot, or cold, hot in the summer or cold in the winter, right? Because of those old windows or the AC units or the old heating system, right? Is it quiet here or is it loud? So absolutely, we ask questions to tenants. You can learn a lot from them. But we just kind of pose as a tenant, like that we're interested in renting there and hit them with a couple questions. Anything else to add to that, Rye?
Yeah, let's go over the most important thing of looking at a property is going to lunch. So see my belly here. I've got to get in and eat a steak.
Got to get this guy some food.
Yes.
So this is so common, and it's one of my biggest pet peeves. As we go throughout and you look, Like, listen, man, that is such an eyesore. So you talk about good tenants. I'm gonna tell you what good tenants aren't gonna do. They're gonna come in here, they're gonna see that, and they're gonna roll. They don't even make it to the leasing office. But what you're also gonna notice as we walk around is there's no signs for the leasing office. But still, what's the occupancy on this property?
Mid-90s.
Mid 90%. It is not very much curb appeal. No signs to the leasing office, which means is demand in this area high? Very high.
What's funny is the only sign I do have is for the laundry room, but yet the leasing office is right next door to it with no sign for it.
And-
Only the laundry.
So remember, and we talked about Charbonneau, where we come in, we view ourselves as a tenant when we first come in to do this walkthrough, right? How would the tenant see it? We drove around, we didn't even know if there was a leasing office on this property because we couldn't find it.
Well, you know what's funny really quick? Let's look at this here. You've got all the backyards that all have gated in backyards here, right? But yet the garbage is not gated.
Yep.
Right? Which is the garbage is more important than
Yeah, just a simple little fence around it. It does such a huge thing for the community. Okay, this is the leak though, okay? So you'll see the water running across the street. We noticed that. We wondered maybe sprinklers were on. We wondered maybe was there an overflow from the creek? We're not quite sure. Or we weren't quite sure, but as you look, right? This is definitely a leak. I mean, I want you to think about, so is this a retradable offense? Yes. So, but it's not even retradable because we know about that from our initial walkthrough. So before we submit an offer, we include that this kind of stuff needs to be fixed within there, right?
I think it's more important, right? You catch this, we were talking about flying out the properties. We talked about the numbers. When we saw the numbers, there was something wrong. We didn't know what was wrong.
That's a great point.
We started asking questions, of why those expenses are really high. Here's the thing, the seller, because we could go put this under contract real quick, that number's there. We instantly, Tyler's constantly talking about value add, value add. We instantly know that if we fix that and negotiate a credit, right, that all of a sudden we can lower those expenses, and that's, instant equity to us, right?
Instant.
Instant increase to NOI, which is what we're always looking for.
And once again, back to the tenant. This is ugly eyesore. It doesn't make you proud of where you live. It's not just the money aspect of it, right? It's the quality. Like, if you think about these tenants who live right here, I mean, their front yard, they have kids, their kids want to complain in the front yard. This whole area, you can't see very well maybe, but this whole area is flooded. Listen, man, if you care about your tenants, you don't allow this stuff to happen. Now, do accidents happen, leaks happen? Yes. But we asked tenants, one of the other questions is, do we talk to tenants? Yeah. So as we were walking through, for our first initial time walking through, we asked the tenant, hey man, how long, we're looking right here, how long has that been like this, man? Long time, what do you say?
It's been a long time. 6+ months or something like that.
Yeah, I can't remember. He said first year or something like that. So about six plus months. Guys, if you care about your tenants, this doesn't happen, right? But think about this. If you care about your tenants, you fix it. If you fix it, your expenses go down. When your expenses go down, your income goes up, man. Everyone wins, man. It's caring about people, in my opinion.
I just like money.
Well, I like that too. I like that too. Okay, we're not going to go in there because we don't, it is a little bit disruptive with the camera, but that is, I don't know if you can shine it through there though. That's the leasing office. There's no signs, right? No signs.
Now, let's be clear, there's a laundry sign.
There's a laundry sign.
Laundry sign.
So listen, this is a property that it's not sexy. When I show you Rivercrest, which is a 150 unit, you just saw Charbonneau 138 unit. Those are good looking, solid properties. Same with, and that's the kind of properties we like to, right? This is a C property, C- C property, but it is in a B area, not even a question, which means there's so much opportunity there, right? So much opportunity. So now as you get creative with it, right, you look at the initial numbers, but you know what the initial numbers look like, and then you get creative with it, pairing it with the 46 unit. Now you start to monopolize the area, and right across from the 46 unit is, I don't know if we know the unit count of it, but another property that's probably closer to 200 units that the seller just told us that he knows the other owner of that property who might be interested to sell. So what do is you're having conversations, you're building relationships, you get luckier and luckier every time, okay? We are starting to create a little foothold monopoly in the Columbia market, and we're excited about it. This trip out here has been, it's such a fun trip to bring you on because it has been, there's so many great opportunities out here. The growth that's happening out here is crazy, right? It's very, very fun.